Okay, I'd like to call the 3050th regular village board meeting to order. It's April 8th, 2013. Clerk, please call the roll.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Voss.
Here.
Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have minutes from the village board meeting of March 25th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, and I've already spoken to the clerk about a correction.
Okay, motion by trustee Voss with a notation that she's given the clerk a correction. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
Second by trustee Nutchnag. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Nutchnag.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Meyer. Yes. Semple.
Present.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, good. Motion carries. At this point in the agenda, I'll open the floor to public comments. If somebody wishes to address a comment to the board, now would be the time to do so, and you can do that by raising your hand. I'll call you up to the microphone. Okay, I see no hands, so I'll close the floor to comments, and we'll go on to my report. In your packet is a proposal for legal services for the redevelopment of the Oak Creek Plaza. You can find this in Exhibit 2. In attendance this evening is attorney Kelly Cahill, who is with the firm of Zukowski, Rogers, Flood, and McCurdle. She's here in the front. So if we have any questions, she can answer them. I'd like to have a motion to hire Zukowski, Rogers, Flood, and McCurdle for legal representation on the redevelopment project of Oak Creek Plaza Shopping Center. Person to the letter of engagement dated March 28th, 2013 from Mr. David McCardle.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sullivan, second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I was initially disappointed. Our counsel that represented us many times was unable to help us in this regard. But looking at the resume and qualifications and experience, I think we'd be well represented, and I think we should look very carefully at the services that are provided here, because a reasonable amount of expense for, I think, a great deal of experience.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Meyer. Yes. Nutchnag.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, to draw your attention to a proclamation proclaiming April 2013 Alcohol Awareness Month. The text of that is in Exhibit 3. Also a proclamation regarding Telecommunications Week of April 7th through April 13th, 2013. That's in Exhibit 4 of your board packets. Next is a matter regarding the Mundelein Crossings Economic Incentive Agreement request. We received some communication from the principals at Mundelein Crossings, and there's a request to basically look at the economic incentive agreement that we have with them. So what we'll do, I guess, is appoint 2 trustees to the ad hoc committee to look at that.
Mr. Mayor, are you looking for volunteers?
I believe we are.
So I'll volunteer.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I guess, as I recall, I was part of the team that negotiated the development agreement, which included the initial incentive agreement. Trustee Voss, were you also? You were not? No. I've forgotten then who was my colleague.
And I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Trustee Nutchnag.
Oh, okay. Well, I would volunteer for that unless somebody has their heart set on it.
Should we send trustees Voss and Sullivan then? Okay, and then what do you want the motion then to be?
Oh, just a motion to appoint them to the ad hoc negotiating.
Okay. Is there a motion for appointment of trustees Sullivan and Voss to that team?
So moved.
Okay, trustee Meyer.
Second.
Trustee Lentz is second. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Meyer. Yes. Lentz.
Yes.
Nutchnag.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. It happened, John. Okay. Next is a matter regarding the collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Mundelein and the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 150. This would be the union, I believe that is representing the Public Works. Is that correct, Mr. Albano? This is a motion to authorize me to sign the collective bargaining agreement between Village of Mundelein and the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 150 AFL-CIO.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Sullivan?
I don't think any of us have seen the final agreement, other than we've seen some highlights.
Mr. Albano?
Isn't it attached as
Yeah.
an exhibit?
It is.
Oh, the whole thing is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No surprises. It's,
No, okay. I suppose I can't read it in 5 seconds.
No, you cannot. Even Evelyn Wood couldn't read that in 5 seconds.
Okay. All right. Call the question.
Okay, call the question then.
Okay, Voss.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Lentz.
yes.
Meyer. Yes. Nutchnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Finally, we, in the past, had a presentation from the Mundelein Community Connection people, and this is now the request. There was some additional information that needed to come in. This is the request for a purchase order and payment to Mundelein Community Connection in the amount of $30,000.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Semple, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Meyer. Any discussion on the motion? Call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer. Yes. Lentz.
Yes.
Nutchnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Other reports from me, I have none. So we'll go on to the Public Works Committee. Trustee Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first order for tonight is related to a work order management software system, and that's Exhibit Public Works-1. And so I'd like to make a motion to authorize staff to purchase Public Works work order management system at a cost of $20,700.
The motion is by Meyer. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Lentz. Any discussion?
Yes, please.
Trustee Voss?
I was unclear from this. Will this software then be available for other departments to, no?
No, it's specifically designed for the public works environment.
That I got. But I mean, so if a building inspector is out doing something and someone makes some, will they be able to enter into that to put in either requests or see that you guys have already been notified?
No.
And how come, why?
That would be an additional cost. This provides us with 10 users on this software license. So to be able to input and edit that data with more users, you'd have to add cost to the package.
Do you know what the cost is?
It
I mean, is there a
depends on
point-
the level of users you're looking to get onto the system.
And so did you explore having it available so that other departments? No.
No, because at that level, a phone call to our Public Works Administrative Service Division would suffice. So there's no loss of communication between, if you're referring to a building department employee or a community development employee out
Or
in the
police
field.
department?
Or police department. They'd be able to communicate with our office directly, and then that information could be input into the software by our administrative assistants.
Okay, so it's really just all stays within Public Works?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Meyer.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Nutchnag.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries.
And the second motion for tonight is related to our street sweeper repair, and we talked about that earlier in our budget meeting. So I'd like to make, and that's in Exhibit Public Works -2, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the materials and parts necessary for the repair of the sweeper from Lacal Equipment, Inc. in the amount of $3,740.72.
Okay, motion is made by Meyer. Is there a second? By Trustee Nutchneg. Any other discussion on the motion? Clerk, call the roll.
Meyer,
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
On that item, we discussed about a $6,000 repair, but according to the staff report, about $3,000 was knocked off of that due to the employee, Mr. Hemmerling, looking around and finding some equally satisfactory parts that were $3,000 less to get the same repair done. So that's kind of work we like to see. Okay, that'll take us down to Finance Committee. Trustee Sullivan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, we have two motions. The first of which is one to approve the payment of bills to AT&T. These bills totaling $13,303.19, and I believe we've separated this from the bill list because we expect an abstention. And I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion is by Sullivan. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Mr. Nutchneg makes a second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Meyer.
Abstain.
Semple.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Second motion is a motion that we have before us to transfer an amount of $6 million from our village general fund in reserve to the village capital improvement and development fee fund. This is specifically to fund the ongoing construction of the Village Hall, the Weston project. And I will make that motion.
Okay, motion is made by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Voss. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This evening, we met in committee for our first discussion of the fiscal year ending 2014 budget. Very good discussion. And we plan to meet again 1 week from tonight, and I'm looking for suggestions as to a time. We will not have a regular board meeting following that. I would suggest we meet later than 6 p.m. What's the pleasure of the board in that regard?
How long do we anticipate we will need for that meeting?
I think we'll have another hour and a half. However, we want to discuss some specific items, get into things a little, in some individual things, whereas this evening we had a good overview. So whatever it takes,
Why don't you say
at least an hour and a half.
You want to say 7?
I'm fine
We're
with
used
7.
to going,
Well,
take
I
it's
an hour.
suspect that will give people time to get something to eat, and we won't have to bring
Okay.
food to the event, much as I like it. So, 7 o'clock? That's fine? Okay. Very good.
Now, will we get an agenda beforehand?
There'll just be an agenda. I have no other materials to distribute.
But in terms of the topics we'll discuss?
Well, I was going to say something under my report, but as long as you ask, if there is anything that the board thinks about, something you want to talk about a little bit more, please send me that information so we can be prepared. If we have to get more materials or research a little bit of something, it'd be very helpful to know what the questions are, what you want to discuss a little bit more. That would be helpful. So as soon as you think of them, shoot me an email. We'll kind of use that as a guide. Otherwise, I intended to walk through the budget document itself. There's some good information in there, more specifically on what our goals and objectives are, and a little more detail there. So.
And are we going to try and finish that next week?
We have 2 meetings scheduled, one next week, and if 22nd is needed, then we'll do it on 22nd.
Okay, because I'm part of the
Right.
Finance Committee and I will not be here the 22nd.
Right.
I think in the past, we've been able to
Yeah.
get them done. So maybe that's the hope this year, too.
Yeah.
Well, the consensus is 7 PM.
Next week.
Mm-hmm.
7 days from now. All right.
All right.
Very good. This evening on our omnibus list of motions, and in fact it is the only motion, is one to pay our bills, those totaling $942,599.46. Some of the significant items in that list is an amount to Curran Construction for last year's street project, amount of $110,136. The ambulance purchase that we approved recently, we got a bill for, will be paid with this motion, $183,175. And to Johnson Controls for our energy efficiency project, $280,941. You realize a lot of that is for the purchase of equipment. Also, they have a bill for repair of HVAC separate from that of $943.50. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next item is public safety.
Chief Sashko, anything for fire this evening?
Just a couple of quick announcements. On April 27th, we'll have a blood drive here from 9 to 3, and then the following week on May 4th, the Exchange Club of Libertyville, Mundelein, Vernon Hills will have their annual pancake breakfast here. There's a variety of different awards for police, fire, and community awards that'll go out that day, and then Salvation Army is also having a clothing drive and other household goods drive at the same time on May 4th. So 2 events that day.
Fantastic, thank you. Chief Gunther, regarding police, you have a couple new vehicles in service. Is one of them still here this evening for us to take a look at afterwards?
Yes, I'd invited you all upstairs to the.
Is it outside or
bays.
inside?
It's in the bays right now,
Fantastic.
so feel free.
And anything for police? That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Community Development, Trustee Voss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I have 2 new business openings. We have Black Tiger Martial Arts Academy at 631 North Midlothian Road. Offers technical Thai boxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and other fitness training, and also the original Omega at 10 East Maple. So I guess we're all going for breakfast tomorrow. We know where it is. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Voss. Permits Committee, Trustee Nutschneg.
Yes, Mayor, I have no report tonight unless, Victor, do you have anything to, you're all set? You're all good. Okay, no report, nothing to schedule.
Okay, thank you very much. Transportation and Infrastructure, Trustee Lentz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we have about 6 motions, all of which will address just some follow-up items from last summer's street project. So this first motion relates to construction inspection fee increase request, Exhibit TNI 1. This is a motion to approve change order number 1 to the professional services agreement with Gewalt Hamilton Associates, Inc. for the FYE 2013 street improvement design and inspection, increasing the value of the agreement in the not-to-exceed amount of $5,200 and authorize the village engineer's signature on the change order number 1.
Okay, the motion is made by Trustee Lentz. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Semple makes a second. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the row.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutschneg.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. The next 2 motions pertain to the Prairie Avenue Pavement and Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project from last summer. First is a motion to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the supplement to the preliminary engineering and construction guidance agreement for motor fuel tax funds with Gewalt Hamilton Associates in the not-to-exceed amount of $3,350.
Second.
Okay, motion by Lentz, second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk call the roll.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutschnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is a motion to approve change order number 1 to the engineering services agreement with Gewalt Hamilton Associates, Inc. for the North Prairie Avenue pavement and sanitary sewer improvement project, increasing the value of the agreement in the not-to-exceed amount of $3,350 and authorize the village engineer's signature on the change order number 1.
Second.
Okay, motion by Lentz, second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk call the roll.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutschnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, and then we have 3 motions. Authorization of change order, purchase order, and pay request number 3 final. This is Exhibit T&I-3. First is a motion to approve a request for authorization of change order for the FYE 2013 street improvement project, increasing the contract value by the amount of $68,358.69 from $881,273.25 to $949,631.94, and authorize the village engineer to sign the request.
Okay, motion by Lentz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk call the roll.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutschnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries.
Next is a motion to approve and issue a purchase order in the amount of $68,358.69 to Curran Contracting Company for the FYE 2013 street improvement project.
Second.
Okay, motion by Lentz, second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk call the roll.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutschnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Finally, a motion to make payment for pay request number 3 final to Curran Contracting Company in the amount of $110,135.93 for the FYE 2013 street improvement project.
Second.
Okay, motion by Lentz, second by Semple. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk call the roll.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Nutschnag.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's it.
Okay. Under other reports, we have an update on the Fourth Amendment to the Cardinal Square project. You can give that, Mr. Lebedo.
Mr. Lebedo, would
Sure.
you would give that?
We've been, as you know, Trustee Sullivan and Trustee Nutschnag have been meeting with the owners of Cardinal Square on the development of their second building. And we've made good progress, and we expect that the Fourth Amendment, as you know, this was, let me back up a minute. As you know, this was a project that originally was planned to be, I think, somewhere around 40 condominium units. This building is going to be 65 units for apartments of rentals. This has gone through the Plan Commission and has gotten their approval, and it required some amendments to our Cardinal Square, the original Cardinal Square agreement, which provided for all these units to be condominiums. So that's one of the changes. And then there was also, as you know, there was an original $7 million TIF. There was a TIF agreement with them that allowed them to certify up to $7 million worth of project costs for that development. And because of some of the changes there, we're talking to them about some other incentives that included credits on certain fees, impact fees, and then also certain public infrastructure improvements that would be paid for by the village, reimbursed, I should say, to the developer for these costs. And they relate to water main improvements and sanitary sewer improvements. So in total, I think with the credits and with the reimbursement of actual costs for these public infrastructures, I think we're, if I remember correctly, it's in the $400,000 range for this project. The reason I bring it up is because this is moving forward quickly, and we expect it to be in front of the board on the 22nd. They are anxious to get started. They want to start this project this summer. Yeah, sooner better. And so we're doing everything we can to expedite this. We've met with them a couple times. Staff has met with them numerous times. This started, if you remember, last year, and there was a couple of false starts, and then they came back to us and wanted to move this project forward in earnest. So we've been trying to keep up with them. We've expect to have, like I said, that agreement completed, if not this week, next week, so we can get that forward. It should be a relatively simple amendment to the agreement, and so we're working hard to bring that forward. And so I know Trustee Sullivan, Trustee Nutznig, we wanted to kind of introduce this to the board tonight, see if there's, really any questions. I know you don't have anything in front of you, but certainly if you do, you can reach out to either one of us if you have questions about it. Question?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, just got an update.
Oh, architecturally, it'll look similar to what the
Yes.
first building, and how many floors? It'll be
Well,
higher,
yes.
lower?
The elevations are it's going to be the same materials. It'll look the same. It's a 5-story building, not an 8-story, or the other one's 7-story. This was Building C in the original agreement. Building C was a 4-story building. Now, this is going to be 5 stories, and it's going to have more units. Units will not be as large square footage-wise, but the construction will be the same quality. There will be a difference, not in what the building looks like from the outside, but it is going to be a wood frame building and not a pre-stressed concrete. Is that true? That's my understanding, yes. And you've looked at that and believe that's an effective construction? Right. The gist of this is that they're asking for $500 or approximately $600,000 in incentive and fee forgiveness. That is, the village will pay for some of the infrastructure. That will come off of their original incentive agreement. They're no longer going to be able to earn $7 million. I mean, at this point in time, they haven't even been earning the interest due on the Tier 1 note, TIF note, which was $4.5 million. They earned some $300,000 of the Tier 2 note because that hinges on occupancy of owner-occupied units. We no longer are going to have that earned credit because the Tier 2 is getting complex. I know. The Tier 2 is going into the Tier 1. And then what the village provides in incentive for this new building comes off of the total incentive. To be honest with you, they're never going to get anywhere near that total incentive unless they build 7 or 8 buildings. There's a total of 9 buildings in the whole agreement. But at this point in time, I think it's worthwhile. It's the increment that comes to us from the TIF revenue will far surpass the incentive that we're providing them. And if they would build 7 or 8 buildings, or even get to 9 buildings sometime during the life of this TIF, they may well recover the total incentive. But then in that way, we would recover this particular incentive, the 600,000 some, for this Building C. But I think it's important that the project be given some life. And I think the incentive is reasonable and worthwhile from the standpoint of getting this project going, because it really will add some life to the whole TOD project. To have one side of the TOD move a village hall building out of the ground, and the other side,
Should I
another
answer it?
residential building. I think that's fire department infrastructure. Yes, okay. Doesn't bother us.
There.
At any rate, our trustee Voss and I, or trustee Nutschnig, who's my partner in crime here, we would recommend, I believe, concur that we follow through with this incentive and with the changes in the development agreement that are indicated in order to get this second building going.
Yeah, I would just add to Trustee Sullivan's comments that the original agreement was designed that if they built, the more they built, the more they were incentivized. And but for the economy, that didn't happen. I think with these changes now, it's still the same way. Trustee Sullivan is correct that if they stop after the second building, they're not generating enough tax increment to even pay back the interest that's being earned on the original certified amount. So the only way they're going to get that back is to build a third or a fourth or a fifth. So even with this new these changes, the developer is still incentivized to build more. And there is still more increment. We're not changing the cap at $7 million. That still remains. They've certified somewhere around $4 million. This adds, I think you're right, I thought it was 400 and some thousand, but it's about 600,000. So this just adds to that certified cost right now. So what would be available is $4 million. I think it's 4.2. This 600,000 subtracted from the 7 million, and that's what's available for future projects. So it's been exercise in creative thinking to try and figure this out and to try and simplify it. And when Trustee Sullivan talks about these Tier 1, Tier 2 notes, TIF notes, we're trying to simplify that as well and combine them. And I think we're working with our attorney, Mr. Norton, and he has suggested that you simply dissolve those first notes, create a second note with this amount. It cleans it up, it simplifies it, and I think it'll help us in the future as well.
If you get this second building out of the ground, plus that's on the east side of the tracks, and you have all the stuff going on the west side of the tracks, that's
Right.
an incredible infusion of energy into that area that I think is going to pay off, you know, many, many times over in the long run.
Now, it does kind of present a little more pressure on the pedestrian bridge, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's under
quickly
design right now.
Right. That's you know, we're still waiting to see. We've been successful in our grant application for that, and we also have other avenues. You know, we haven't completely given up on Metro yet. So
Well,
Trustee
I haven't
Sullivan
given up.
hasn't given up on Metro, but we're going to still pursue that, and Weston is also working with us on that, and we're going to kind of pursue a couple of paths at the same time, see if we can't bring that to a conclusion.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, we'll move
I'm
on to.
assuming that, without having any questions, there's a consensus. Is there a consensus, Mr.
Move
Mayor?
ahead, yeah.
To move ahead under the terms that we've outlined? Okay.
Okay, no one's screaming with heartburn, so
All
I
right,
guess
very
it's
good.
go. Okay, omnibus item A. Anybody wish to make a motion?
Incredibly enough, I need to pull item A off.
Of course you would.
Sorry.
Okay, what is the problem with item A or the question?
There is no problem with item A, except that contained in this bill pay is an amount for $50 that the village very kindly donated in memory of my mother in lieu of flowers to a charity of her choosing, and so therefore I'm going to have to abstain.
Okay. Motion to approve the bill list here. Okay. Somebody else want to make the motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sullivan, second by Nutschneg. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries. Mr. Lebedo, any report from your office, please?
I have no report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Marino? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Just a reminder that tomorrow is
Okay. Any other business? Motion to adjourn
So moved.
by Trustee Voss. Is there a second?
Second.
By Trustee Meyer. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.